What is profit? And how do you calculate it?
Cost minus I don't know.
Income minus, there we go. Okay, so the heading profit is the focus. First bullet will be the formula. Yeah, chapter 15, profits, or profits, either or. Profit is fine. Maybe if you want to explain it, we can use what you said. So the first line you can say, the money that the owner is entitled to, okay, or the money that the shareholders are entitled to. That's correct. There's nothing wrong with that. So you can describe it as being that. Okay, and then maybe on the next line, just show the equation. Profit equals income minus expenses. Okay, the textbook in this chapter also talks about the calculation. Okay, so when looking at profit, you get different types of profits. So we do need to differentiate. Okay, so the generic equation for profit is income minus expenses. Then you get specific types of profits. Okay, so maybe you can put this as number 1 and number 2. There's 2. Okay, so the first one, gross profits. How do you calculate gross profits? Any idea?
I do, but I forgot.
Okay, sales minus cost of sales. That's the first profit that you could be asked to calculate. Okay, so number 1, gross profit equals sales minus cost of sales. Perfect. Number 2, net profit. Okay, net profit is actually broken up into 2 equations. So for number 2, you can say net profit, and then on the second line, you can say or, and then we can write down the other one. Okay, but for now, let's just write down the one, and then you can write down the other one just now. Okay, so net profit equals gross profit plus other income minus other expenses. GP plus other income minus other expenses. That's the one equation. Okay, so if you have the gross profit, to make it a net profit, you just have to add the other income minus other expenses. Okay, then just put an or. Another way of working out net profit is all income minus all expenses, because that's what it is. Okay, net profit is everything taken into consideration. Right? All income minus all expenses will give you net profit. Okay, the textbook gives you an example here of the balance sheet, which you already spoke about. Non-current assets, current liabilities, non-current liabilities. So that's fine. What they do discuss here is this whole idea of retained profits. Okay, the reason why is because later when you look at companies, there is a retained profit or retained earning. Okay, so underneath this, still looking at profits, you can say number 3, because this is another type of profit, retained profits / retained earnings. Retained profit is not a very nice way of describing it. The correct term that is used in like financial statements practically is the word earnings. So retained earnings, that's what they normally talk about it as being. Okay, so what is that looking at? What does the word retained mean? Exactly. Okay, so underneath this, we need some bullet points in terms of theory. Retained profit or earnings, profit in 1 year carried through to the next year. That's what a retained profit or retained earnings amount is. Right, so if I make a profit this year, we're going to move it to next year, and we're going to keep it for next year. We're going to keep it for the future. Right, that's what retained profits are. Okay. Right, and the last point here is just drawings. Does drawings affect the owner's equity? Yes. Does drawings affect profit? No. Okay, so there are 2 separate things. So just remember that drawings is the term used to describe the withdrawal of resources from the business for the owner's private use. That's what it's about. Okay, so just an asterisk here. Drawings is the owner.
So that drawing affects
owner's equity. Yeah, drawings affects owner's equity. That's correct. And then just state what it is. Just say a withdrawal by the owner for private use. That's a short description. Drawings of fixed owner's equity,
Not.
not profits. Yeah, not profits. Okay, and just underneath that, what is drawings? Just say withdrawal of.
I know that.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, then you don't have to worry. Alright, so that covers that. And then anything else that you see? No, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. Yeah, that's the end. Okay, so yeah, chapter 15 is very short. Let's just look at this profit concept.